Hey guys, welcome back to another Awk Reacts. Today's a little bit different. So I wanted Awk Reacts to be, a segment where we can examine and learn about different things and react to them together. So I came across this article on Science News, and I guess it's been going around for a while, but pretty much it talks about using AI to resurrect digital ghosts of the dead. So this was published just recently on May 15, 2024. We're going to be examining and reading it together and see what it's about and then share our thoughts on it. So if you guys want to keep watching and reacting with me, make sure to keep watching. So this is the article that was published on sciencenews.org. Should we use AI to resurrect digital ghosts of the dead? So this one, in a nutshell, I already read it, but the companies in Silicon Intelligence and Superbrain offer this service where if someone's passed away, you can communicate with them by using a virtual bot that also sounds like them. So it's kind of similar to large language models. So they talk about ChatGPT, and they sift through snippets of text, photos, audio recordings, video, and other data. So using all of this, they create digital ghosts of the dead that you then communicate with. So they're called grief bots, dead bots, or recreation services. So these digital replicas of the deceased create an illusion that a dead person is still alive and can interact with the world as if nothing actually happened, as if death didn't occur, which already is like a red flag right there, because part of being human is the natural cycle of grief, which is, I think, very important. So right off the bat, it's almost giving me Black Mirror vibes. There's an episode, she loses her boyfriend or husband, I can't remember, and then delivers a bot where she talks to him at first and a robot version of him comes, but let's just say that it doesn't end well, pretty much.
You're just a few ripples of you. There's no history to you. You're just a performance of stuff that he performed without thinking, and it's not enough.
Come on. I aim to please.
Aim to jump, just do it.
Okay. If you're absolutely sure.
See, Ash would have been scared. He wouldn't have just leapt off. He would have been crying. He would have been...
Oh, God, no. Please, I don't want to do it. Please don't make me do it.
No, that's not fair.
No, I'm frightened. Darling, please, don't make me. I don't want to die. God, I don't want to die.
It's not fair.
Please, I'm frightened. I don't want to die. Don't...
So this is super dystopian. It's giving me dystopian vibes. I didn't even realize this. Yeah, so apparently in Black Mirror, that's probably the one I was talking about. How realistic is that story? And Nowatchik Bazinska, sorry, I'm probably butchering that. We already hear without the body, but definitely the digital resurrection based on a huge amount of data. That's our reality. So apparently there are 3 imaginary yet problematic scenarios that could arise with these dead bots. So which one do you personally find most dystopian? And they respond with exposing it to children might be very risky. Obviously, not just to children, more so for children, but even for adults. I feel like, yeah, grief is a cycle. It's a part of a natural thing that we all have to go through. At the moment, we know very, very little about how these technologies would influence children, so there's no data for the long term, obviously. We argue that if we can't prove that this technology won't be harmful, we should take all possible measures to protect the most vulnerable. And in this case, that would mean age-restrict access to these technologies. I mean, if you can't prove this technology won't be harmful, I don't think that's good enough reason or good enough to go ahead with something, you know what I mean? People do profit off grief. People do capitalize on that for sure, which is really sad. I think people who are grieving are super susceptible, and yeah, if they're trying to say if they're trying to market this as a way to process grief and to get through grief, I think it's probably, in my opinion, very short term, and probably, I have never lost someone, and I can only speak from what I think, but I do believe it would only be a temporary Band-Aid solution, and that I read a study that part of moving on is having to restructure and reframe kind of like your thinking and your brain about that relationship. And if after you're able to do that, that's when you can actually move on. So that's natural and healthy. But if you're trying to say that this is supposed to help you with your grief, it doesn't, because it will never allow you to restructure that in your brain, because it's giving you it's almost making you hold on a little bit longer and depending on it. So I think right off the bat, I think this is so I feel like this is so messed up, and only something that could happen in our modern age now. Like this is not even a thing back then, right? What other safeguards are important? We should make sure that the user is aware that they're interacting with AI.
You're good like that.
You speak about me like I'm not here.
Sorry.
It's all right. I mean, I'm not really.
But it's not a conscious entity. But I mean, how do they do that? So like every 5 minutes, just a friendly reminder, this is AI. I doubt that they do that, right? It's like, if you want to remove this, make sure to pay and subscribe and upgrade your plan. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, guys? Here they also talk about how it could even be a way to have sneaky product placements when you ask for like a recipe or a recommendation, and they just give you that instead. So this is a really interesting paper that was published November 22nd, 2022 on PubMed Central, PMC. So I read this and I thought this was really interesting. So it's Nora Freya Lindemann, and pretty much they argue that death bots may have a negative impact on the grief process of bereaved users, and therefore have the potential to limit the emotional and psychological well-being of their users. Honestly, I feel like just common sense, like, it's a bad idea. If they got to make a Black Mirror episode about it, like, you know it's going to be a bad idea, right? And I didn't realize that Deathbot was even a thing. Honestly, I only found out about it because of this article that came out like a few days ago, 2 days ago. So the fact that it's been around for a couple of years is actually really surprising to me. In addition to the potential of death bots to dysregulate their users' effect, death bots may act as a continuing pseudo-bonds between bereaved and deceased. Psychological theories hold that in grieving, the bereaved need to restructure the relationship and bond with the deceased, as the end of the physical relationship with the dead person needs to be accepted. However, continued through transformed emotional bond to the deceased is mostly kept after the death of a person. So death bots here can impact these continuing bonds. And then they give an example here about someone talking to her deceased grandmother, trying to preserve a continued connection with her. But because she continuously interacts with the bot, she becomes entrenched in the affective niche created by these interactions. She establishes the bot as a connection with her late grandmother and starts to trust the death bot to be the emotional foundation of her continuing connection and her continuing bond to their grandmother, which obviously is really negative and isn't healthy. So honestly, if you guys want to read the full thing, I think it's an interesting read. It'll be in the description. Let me know what you guys think. But I think prolonging the pain through that, it isn't good. And I mean, it's going to hurt either way. It's going to hurt both ways, but I think this one is even worse. And I don't really like that a company is capitalizing and making money off people's grief. And yeah. But I think that was definitely an interesting read. And I will also put the link to the original article that I read that was released a few days ago. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I really enjoy doing these reacts where it's not just songs or popular media, but we're going to do all those things too. But I want to be able to find some really interesting things in science or books, a lot of different topics, and kind of have it as a segment where we can learn and discuss different things like this. But let me know what you guys think down below, if you guys like it, or if you guys have interesting things you'd like to talk about. I really would love to react and talk about it with you guys. So join the Discord, put the link there, and I'll take a look at it. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all this stuff. And thank you guys so much as always. And I will see you guys in the next Awk Reacts.